Catholic Moments, Episode 94, George Escobar, Come What May.
Finding joy in the journey and hope in the heaven yet to come.
Hello and welcome to Catholic Moments. And now, here's your host and my mom, Lisa Hendy.
Well, thank you, Eric, and welcome everyone to a special Monday episode of Catholic Moments, the show from CatholicMom.com, where we talk about all things faith, family, and fun from a Catholic perspective. And yes, it is Monday. Check your iPod. You usually hear from us on Wednesday, but I'm throwing a special show into the feed because I did a great interview today with a filmmaker about a film that's actually being released tomorrow on St. Patrick's Day. So I thought I'd give you a special little episode today to highlight this particular film and share with you my conversation with filmmaker George Escobar. Before we do that, I want to wish all of you a happy St. Patrick's Day from one of the most Irish crazy families, you know, the Hendy family, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. And before we head into the interview, what I'm going to do is play for you the trailer from this particular movie. The film is entitled Come What May.
We'll pay for your first year at Patrick Henry College. This is for next year.
It's the parental notification case. Overturn Roe versus Wade.
I have an idea about an argument that actually wouldn't require overturning Roe.
Caleb, your argument leaves Roe versus Wade in place.
We'll fix it later, add an exception some other time.
This is about a girl not having to tell her parents. It has nothing to do with killing babies.
You're wrong. The baby died.
If I don't win this, I can't come back.
Caleb, do what's right.
You know my moot court partner?
Rachel.
Yeah, wow, she's fantastic.
The man I give my heart to is the man I marry.
She wants a commitment that you're not going to break her heart. You know what? I don't blame her a bit.
Don't compromise. Stand firm.
I'm training you to argue this case in the real Supreme Court. Living by Christian principle, living by God's righteousness, that'll guide your whole life.
They tear the baby out of its only means of life support and say, wow, look at that, our machines can't sustain its life. And somehow that proves it's not viable?
Caleb, do what's right.
Next up on today's episode of Catholic Moments, I'm so pleased to have as our guest George Escobar. And George is the founder of a wonderful organization entitled the Advent Film Group and the director, producer, and co-writer of a great new movie entitled Come What May. How are you today, George?
I'm very well. Glad to be on your show.
Good, great. We always like to have our guests begin by introducing themselves and just letting us know a little bit more about you and your family.
Well, my name is George Escobar. I live in Purcellville, Virginia, just outside Washington, D.C., and I have 3 sons. My wife and I have been married for about 22 years, and we homeschool our boys.
So the nature of this particular film has to do with homeschooling. We'll talk about that in a few moments, but you have some expertise in that then, huh?
Just a little bit.
Great. Tell us about Advent Film Group. How did the organization get started?
Well, we got started about 3 months after I went to the San Antonio Independent Christian Film Festival and met the producer of Facing the Giants and Fireproof, Stephen Kendricks, and he really challenged me to pursue God because I had been after my own career for years and years, and he said, you've been gifted and you've been given opportunities, and you need to do it for the right reasons. And that was very convicting to me, and got down on my knees and asked forgiveness and said, Lord, this is all yours, and I repent from my errors. And 3 months later, Advent Film Group began.
Amazing. Did you have to physically relocate to begin your work with Advent, or were there any big changes in that respect?
Well, the biggest change was a job change. I was a vice president over at Discovery, and now I was going to do a startup in a little town called Purcellville, Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
Not exactly the mecca for filmmaking. So, of course, my wife said, "You're doing what?" And but you know, she sensed that the Lord was moving in this direction also, and what confirmed it for both of us really was the miraculous funding that we received for the project come up May.
Such an amazing thing when you hear about these films. I was able to actually interview Stephen a few months ago with the release of Fireproof on DVD, and you hear about these films being made for incredibly small budgets and then coming out and having this just tremendous impact on society. Let's talk for a moment about Come What May. Can you just briefly introduce our listeners to what happens in the story, and without giving away the ending, give a little vignette of it?
Well, it's the story about two Patrick Henry College students who end up battling to overturn Roe v. Wade at the National Moot Court Championship. But the story really is the journey to get there, because his mother is a feminist constitutional attorney. His father is a new Christian who had led our main character, Caleb, to Christ. And so they're fighting for his heart and soul at home, and it eventually manifests itself out into the public square because his mother ends up going before the U.S. Supreme Court essentially to oppose his views, and we see the two of them make very powerful arguments. She at the U.S. Supreme Court opposing Caleb's view when he presents exactly the counter-argument at the National Moot Court Championship.
It really is an amazing film. I watched it with my husband and my 14-year-old son, and we were just glued to the movie. And, you know, it's just a really one of those movies that you don't want to walk away from. How did you come up with the story for this particular movie?
It was inspired by true events at Patrick Henry College back in, I believe, 2002. That team ended up finishing third because they chose not to compromise their position on a particularly sensitive case. And so that served as an inspiration for this movie. And certainly Patrick Henry College, the real school, is a national powerhouse in speech and debate, and especially moot court. And so this was a very realistic portrayal of just exactly how well-trained the students there are, as well as the homeschoolers who make up the student body at PHC.
You know, and when you use the word realistic, I have to go back to one particular portrayal in the movie, which is actually an integral player there at Patrick Henry College. Tell us about one of the stars of the movie who stepped onto the screen.
Well, Dr. Michael Ferris helped us tremendously, not just performing in front of the camera as the moot court coach playing himself in the movie, but he also wrote the legal brief that essentially is argued before the U.S. Supreme Court. So we know that we're on very good, solid legal ground because he's a constitutional attorney who's actually presented before the U.S. Supreme Court and won, I think.
Oh, amazing. And the actors who are in the film, are they, I noticed from some of the bios that you've got professional actors, but also maybe some people that are relatively new to acting.
We only had two professional actors, Karen and Kenny Yazek, who play Caleb's mom and dad in the movie. Otherwise, everybody else is an amateur, including the lead actor, Austin Kearney, and then Victoria Emmons, who plays Rachel.
Oh, really? I didn't realize that they were. So this is both of their first film.
Absolutely.
Wow, yeah. That's an amazing thing. The performances that they gave wouldn't really necessarily make you think that they're really. And I'm sure that the actor who plays Caleb is going to have a growing following of young ladies after him, because he's did quite a great job in the film. Both of them did, actually. How was it to work with people who, you know, having been yourself so experienced in TV and film, how was it to work with people who are not necessarily as experienced as you are?
Well, you have to allow a certain leeway in your schedule, but certainly a lot of prayer. And this is where Karen and Kenny Yazek were so helpful, because they're professional actors who happen to be married to each other, who happen to be homeschooling parents, and had sort of turned their back on Hollywood career after they became Christian. So we had the perfect, ideal couple to help train our novice crew. But both Austin and Victoria had participated in the Speech and Debate League for homeschool high school debaters. And so they were used to memorizing long dialogues and lots of pieces of information and being able to deliver it to an audience.
That's that chemistry really works out well in the film, and it's interesting that you would say that Karen, or in particular the mother in the movie, her portrayal is just a very emotional thing. That must have really taken a lot of strength within her to play that role and the conflict that she faces.
Oh yeah, she was amazing, especially in the scenes where her inner struggle really surfaces, and she's been trying to hold it back because she has some secrets that she doesn't want to reveal, but they eventually come out, and she did a marvelous job and repeatedly was able to cry on camera when we needed her to.
Well, I would think that being a committed Christian and a family member, she's fighting the wrong side of the battle in the film. So I'm sure that was an emotional thing for her.
Yes, it was, because she's such a nice lady, and yet she has to play somebody who is very committed to her career and loves her family, but at the same time, it really has an inner struggle that prevents her from fully having a relationship with her husband and her son.
I don't know if it was an intentional, but I loved that role reversal that you sort of pulled in the film, where it wasn't the traditional, you would think that the high-powered attorney would be the father in the family, and you sort of turned that on its head and made the mom the center of the conflict, and I really enjoyed that take on it, and I felt that it really underscored some of the issues that come up when you deal with the pro-life issues as well, and how important it is to women.
Yeah, we were very fortunate that Karen was and Kenny in particular, actually, because he could have carried that role just as well, but I think that, again, it's one of those providential things. The Lord had given us the characters because he knew who he was going to cast for this movie, and so we went with it.
Well, it's exciting. So the DVD release is coming up very soon, right? What's next up for you?
Well, the DVD comes out on March 17th. And we're really excited about that, but we already have 3 projects underway. One is a father and son relationship, and another one is a family musical, and then another one that tackles immigration and essentially loving your neighbor. And we've experienced just incredible blessings there in finding accredited investors in today's economy. It's amazing. They've seen our mission, they've seen our movies, and they want to help us make more of them.
Well, I think it's a testament to the work that you're doing that families want this type of entertainment and that we're anxious to support it so we get more of it.
Yes, the more families get behind us, both as performers in front of the camera and behind the camera, we really are looking for a new generation of Christians to get involved in the arts, to get involved in filmmaking, because it's the most powerful medium that we know. And when you ask a teenager what the pastor told them last Sunday, they can't tell you, but they can tell you a movie that they saw maybe 2 years ago.
So what if we have any budding filmmakers out there, people who are interested in using this medium, how can what might you have to say to them as far as words of advice, and are there any resources through Advent for people who are seriously interested in pursuing the craft?
Yes, we are about to launch a training program from our website, and we'll also be doing some live seminars across the country. In fact, I'm heading out to North Dakota to do a film workshop for a homeschool conference there. But the website will have the information for training at adventfilmgroup.com.
Great. And to order the DVD is the best way to get it through your website?
That's one of the best ways to get it because we have special offers there, but you can get it at Christian stores as well as online retailers now.
Great. Well, I want all of our listeners to know that we'll have links to adventfilmgroup.com through our website. So wherever you listen to this show, you'll be able to click through and to purchase the DVD and also to find out more about Advent Film Group. The name of the film, again, is Come What May, and it has just a tremendous message, and I want to give it my highest recommendation. And George, I'd just like to thank you on behalf of my family for a great evening of entertainment, and it really touched our hearts a lot with this film. And just ask you if there are any closing thoughts that you'd like to share with our listeners before we let you get back to your other projects that you're working on.
Yes, the Lord is moving in a mighty way in a new Christian film movement, and that means that we need to be ready for that. And lots of students who are homeschoolers are rallying to the call, but our organization isn't exclusive to homeschoolers. So if you need to, you feel you need to get involved, please contact us, and we'll try and help you.
Great. Well, thank you again so much for this film, and good luck with the future projects. I hope we can be back in touch when those come out as well.
Well, thank you so much.
Again, I'd like to thank my guest, George Escobar, and invite each of you to check out his film, Come What May. I hope you enjoyed as much as I did, and that you'll take a look at the website and view the trailer and consider getting a copy of it for you and for your family, or possibly viewing it at your parish with others. I think you'll really enjoy it. And as we close out this week's show, I'm going to share with you a little tune my boys recorded recently as we're celebrating St. Patrick's Day tomorrow. So many of us out there celebrate this special holiday, and I wish you all the best as you however you'll be celebrating it around your home. And we'll be back with a regular show either Wednesday or Friday of this week. I'm not exactly sure when the scheduling is going to fit. I'm taking a little trip with my son Adam over to Hearst Castle with his 8th grade class. So we'll be back with a full show, including everyone's favorite online deacon, Deacon Tom Fox, your feedback, and much, much more. So we'll see you next time. And until then, have a great few days, everybody, and happy St. Patrick's Day. Bye-bye.
SQPN, leading the way in Catholic new media.